and joining me to question them and see where they're at and where they would go if they win the election. Gilbert Garcia and Greg Jefferson from Plaza de Armas TX.com, which is the online politics and current events newspaper for San Antonio. And Gilbert, you get the next round of questioning, which will start with candidate Laura Thompson.
Thank you, Jack. Another issue that's been a big one in District 10 over the years is because we've seen population growth in District 10, there have been concerns that there aren't enough parks in the district. I want to get your sense as to whether that's an issue at this point in District 10, and if so, would this be something that you would pursue when it comes to the 2012 bond program?
Yes, it would be. I am a big proponent of having areas for kids and families to gather, and so looking at more park space or upgrading the parks that we have in the district is one of my priorities. So I'm for it, for upgrading the parks.
Thank you. Bud Little?
City Council has done an admirable job putting in parks in District 10, but you can always use some more parks. My only concern is we need to be able to take care of those that we get. Some of the parks are not very well kept sometimes, and very well maintained, and so I believe that we need more parks, yes, but we also need to have the money to be able to take care of them.
If District 10 is in better position now than it has been in the past with regard to parks, what would be the big priorities for you as far as the 2012 bond program?
Where parks are concerned?
Or any needs that you might have in District 10?
The center that's been discussed by Councilman Clamp on the northeast side, Thousand Oaks and Scarsdale, I think that's going to be critical. That's a community center that would include senior services as well as a number of other city services, and I think that would be important in the bond issue. Along with, there's some streets that need repair. There's some streets that need a lot of help, and I think that would also be a primary factor.
Any in particular that stand out to you from your
Not
campaign?
that we're just maintaining the streets if nothing else, but I mean the bond issue would have to be for specific projects, but not any specific offhand right now.
Carlton Soules, how do you are parks a big issue right now? And if not, what would be a big priority for you as far as 2012?
Well, let me touch both of those. I was on the Parks and Recreation Board, so I am very much an advocate of the park system. One of the issues, though, is if you look back over the last 15 years, we've almost doubled the amount of infrastructure under the purview of Parks and Recreation, but the budget has been fairly flatlined. So we've done a great job of acquiring, but we have done a really poor job of bringing maintenance up in line. And so we have huge infrastructure issues within our existing park system. So while we always want more parks, we've got to take care of what we have already. That said, we don't also always necessarily have to acquire the land and develop it out at the time we acquire it. So I would like to look at, as the city expands, that we acquire parcels of land for future development, that maybe as funding comes for that, we will be able to keep up. Then you touched on the bond election, and priorities there. The way I would look at the bond election would be first safety issues, and specifically you ask about roads. We have two roads where we go from 5 lanes down to 2, where fire trucks have trouble getting through in highly concentrated areas. And the reason that those projects weren't completed is in the last bond cycle, that's Jones-Maltzberger out to 1604 and also Higgins Road. We only funded half the project in the last bond cycle, so obviously those are priorities, as well as the senior center, some work on Harry Wurzbach. We've got a lot of infrastructure issues and needs in the district, more than there will be bond funds for, so we want to get, obviously voter and constituent input as well, but safety is first priority.
Okay. Is it better? What is District 10 in need of more parks or better maintenance of parks, as some of the other candidates have said? And where does it rank as far as your priorities for 2012 in the bond program?
I think, San Antonio is one of the most obese cities in the nation. It's been ranked there several times, and I think a part of that fault kind of lies on the city itself, because we don't offer many options for our citizens to go out and exercise. Now, I think the parks that we have are great, but I do think that we need to keep them maintained. I think a huge focus on the parks should be on jogging trails being maintained and bike trails being maintained. All too often, if you're on a jogging trail, you can see about how how the trails have been overgrown, about how it's become unsafe. So I do think that we need to make sure that we are maintaining our parks that we do in fact have. I'll go even further to say that perhaps we should add bike lanes to our roads. Now, going back now to where does this rank in the bond issue, I think it does take a back seat to things such as public safety, to things such as, public safety, and improving our growth of the city. But I do think that it does, in fact, take a seat in the car. So.
Gilbert, real quick, I felt like I did a disservice to the park system because we've just built out a wonderful addition to the city, which is our linear creekway system. And I don't know if many people out there have had a chance to take part in it along the Salado Creek and the other greenways, but it is a beautiful, wonderful asset to our city, and I think it's something that people need to go look at and enjoy.
Thank you.
All right, that's going to do it for our time with these District 10 candidates, but hopefully we will be able to get you all back here at least one more time before Election Day. We certainly hope that we can. But our thanks to Laura Thompson, Bud Little, Carlton Soules, Izzy Perez for being here today. A quick reminder, if you didn't hear all of this or want to revisit it, we'll have the audio podcast up on the Jack Riccardi page of KTSA.com a little bit later on this afternoon. But candidates, thank you for coming in today. Good job
Thanks for having us.
answering all these questions, and a thanks to Gilbert and Greg from PlazaDeArmasTX.com. Thank you, gentlemen. It's 10, make that 11:54 on News Talk 550 KTSA.